Hello YouTube, metaloidmonkey here, and welcome back to another Road to 50. I'm excited to commentate this one. This is an Andrew's Mirror versus Diablo Soul. I started recording a little bit late because I was turning on my capture card software because I was listening to music at the same time, and I was Skyping with Oops and Quick to Kill, and basically it makes my screen go black for a second or so at the beginning of the game, so a little delay, but I don't really care about that. So anyways, this is how you play Andrew's Mirrors to perfection on Tundra, and you can also apply some of these things to release as well. And that's just the main thing, is that whenever you're playing an Ender's Mirror on these maps, you always go reactor second. And I'll prove it to you over and over again. I don't know why Marco sometimes tries to go reactor third. It does not work. He doesn't do it versus me because he's always worried about me catching his hogs. But it's not about catching the hogs. It's just that what's going to happen is, as you're going to see, is that there's three places your hogs can be. Your hogs can be at your base, they can be at his base, or they can be clearing an expansion. And this is always the case. And so when you have your gunner earlier, you can have your gunner at his base earlier, which means that if he doesn't have his gunner, you're gonna do damage and there's nothing he can do about it. And so then you're gonna gain an economic advantage on him and you're good to go. So I'm just gonna try to upgrade the pad right away, delay the gunner a little bit, don't really care, because what's gonna happen is, oh yeah, in the beginning there, he had his hog there and I just kind of drove away from it because I didn't feel like playing that game. That's kind of a weird spot for him to be collecting supplies, I was thinking. I don't want to mess with his hogs, because I don't want him to be going for like a reactor second 3 hog gunner as opposed to 4 hog gunner, because then he's definitely getting gunner before me. And also, if he were to go for like even some crazy like reactor first or something like that, I don't want to be anywhere near his hogs, because I'm just going to show up right as my gunner researches, making sure I time that correctly, and now I'm going to deny a pad, and now I'm ahead. Like, that's literally it. Like, his gunner will research, but he won't be back in time. He won't have it in time to push me off before I deny the pad. So basically, now my economy is better than his, and I can just go collect crates on the map, and he's gonna be, now he's a pad behind, so that's great. I think I'm actually delaying a pad by a little bit on his base, because I'm like turning around constantly and checking my Skype, because Oops keeps trying to call me, and I'm like, no, not now. And so he's trying to engage right here. It's just a 4 hog gunner he went for, but I'm gonna actually get a good pick on him. But it doesn't even matter. I could have just left, and now I'm just gonna keep building hogs. And I'm gonna go clear an expo, and I'll collect more crates around the map. I don't have to do too much right now, because I did manage to deny that pad. It would have been great if I got those crates there. And generally, you will get the crates behind your base relatively early, but I didn't get mine because he went right for them, and I didn't feel like dealing with him. And I just didn't get his, and because he didn't get them because he was over at my base, and I didn't feel like getting his because I didn't want to get trapped behind his base when he gets his gunner. And he wouldn't be able to successfully box me in because he'd have to split poorly, because I will have 4, and he can split 2 and 2, and if he times it right, he can get a nice sandwich. But I'll deny the pad and get out of there before his gunner even researches, which basically says to me that I'm gonna be already leaving his base, as you saw. Like, I'm out of there by the time his gunner researches. And, like, everyone's always worried about you catching their hogs. If you catch their hogs, that's fantastic. That's nice. But I'm not going to go chasing your hogs if I can deny your pad. I'd rather deny the pad. It doesn't matter. Denying either one is essentially the same sort of thing in terms of gaining a resource lead. So I was constantly checking his points, and I know he's probably just going to come try to take this expo from me. But I'm just making sure that I'm going to have the 500 to buy it as soon as the timer runs down, because whoever buys this base first is keeping it. Like, that's it. It's over. Like, that's why you generally just go clear your own base. It's much safer. I'm ahead on eco. And as you see, like, the game lags right here. But I made sure I had the 500 right, and I get the pay. I paid for it. I'm good. He's gonna try to target it down, but you can't. It doesn't matter what he tries. This is one of those things, so you don't end up in this sad situation. What's gonna happen is that he can keep trying to deny that, but he can't fight the base and my hogs at the same time. So I'm ahead on hogs nicely right now, but I follow him here and just kind of mess that up really badly. Should have been a bit more cautious, but it doesn't matter because now I'm going to have a base, and I'm going to be double pumping hogs to his single pumping, and if he wants to keep up with hogs by any means, he's going to have to stay on station, and if he stays on station, then my tank from my fortress or whatever is just going to dominate him. He's not going to be able to do anything about it because he's committing so much to this. His best option in this case is actually to pull back and to delete one of the supply pods on his main base to go for a quick grenadier and hope for that I'm not paying attention that he can pull off a quick grenadier all-in push on that base. Like, that is literally his best chance at this point. You can either have, in an Ender's Mirror, you can either have base lead or you can have tech lead. Those are your two options, and I'll explain that a bit later because I'm going to have base lead right now, so I have base lead, problem solved. Like, because I have the base lead, I am sitting pretty right now because he's not gonna kill it. Like, I don't know. It looks, everyone's like, oh yeah, he might kill. No, I get a pad up and I'm double pumping hogs and I'm just stacking my hogs into him because I can trade hogs nicely. Like, it's pretty simple for me to trade hogs and get away with it because I'm double pumping to his single pumping. My hogs are essentially less valuable. So I just want to see I checked to see where his fortress was. I wanted to go for a second reactor, but I don't want to throw the heal in the base just yet. Well, I do want to heal it, I just can't afford both, is what I'm saying. So basically, I want to get to fortress, and I want to get a second tech, and stop making hogs, because I don't need hogs anymore. They're done. So basically, I had checked. I'm just checking. He does have fortress. I just don't know how long he had fortress because I'm thinking there's no way he's had fortress that long if he was able to build all those hogs and put that much pressure on my base. And so basically, I just go in there, kill a hog, doesn't matter. And he's got his tech 2 up, but he's just building his vehicle depot. So I'm like, okay, cool, that's great, I'm good, game over. And so basically, the main thing. Like, I mean, he could still have a chance of pushing on my base if I didn't go barracks. But I know to go barracks. So basically, I'm going to go barracks here, as you see. And you can start this barracks if he's already got his depot up and he's building his tank, because the barracks will take 30 seconds to build. The tank will take 35 seconds to build, and the Spartan will build and get out by the time the tank gets to your base. And I don't have Tech 2 though, so I can't use a Gremlin to jack him, so I'd really only be able to just stall him. Or maybe even try to use my hogs to box the tank in. I upgraded that pad, could have built a depot first, but I'm being a little greedy. And so I'm just making sure he doesn't have an expo, checking the points, and making sure that he's not going to try to like go for a quick Tech 3 or anything of that nature. I don't have chain gun, don't have any gremlins, so I'm going to go run and try to put that Spartan into the tower. Usually I like to sit it by my base instead of putting it in the tower, but when I put it in the tower because I don't have chain gun, I don't have a gremlin, I don't have any means of jacking a tank, so sitting on the ground it's much more vulnerable, and I get in there, and now he's not going to be able to go straight to that base, so it's going to buy me a lot of time. And I could technically try to jump out and jump on that tank, but I'd rather just keep my Spartan alive and use it later. And so he's got a tank, he's got 2 gremlins there. I could have gone Hornets, but I just kind of felt like going tanks. I generally prefer tanks on this map and Hornets on release. It's just the nature of which expansion bases are taken. So basically, I mean, also it depends on who has hog lead. I mean, I could go. You can pretty much always go tanks, and only sometimes go Hornets. So if you don't know what you're doing, just go tanks. You'll be fine. But basically here you can see that on this map there's the expansion bases that are right next to each other, so he has a chance of taking that, and usually what they'll try to do is they'll try to build tanks and hogs or turrets or something and just try to turtle up until Tech 3 and just try to sit back between those 2 bases and turtle. And it's hard to push into that with Hornets, and I don't feel like doing that right now. Like, usually if it stays on a single base game, I might go for Hornets. I mean, generally I'll go for tanks on a single base game. But you have the option either way. I don't know. I just prefer tanks on this map, just because even if they try to turtle you, you can just essentially counter turtle and then get base advantage and tech into hawks is the main way to do it. Like, especially if they Cobra, just counter Cobra, tech into hawks, triple air pad, GG. So basically, I have one tank, getting a second tank out, put the Spartan in the tank. I have two gremlins. He tries to push. I have defender's advantage and base advantage. I am prioritizing building the tanks over building the gremlins because since he is on a single base, he is going to have the same number of tanks that I'm building, and he's going to have less gremlins no matter what he does. Like, he can try all he wants, but he will never get more gremlins than I will be able to get, because I'm keeping up with at least building them out of the single, and then with any extra money, I'm using it to build it out of my expansion base, so my gremlins I'm essentially 1.5 his production, so I will always have a gremlin lead, and I just got to keep even with tanks since in this double base scenario. So basically, I am wondering, like, what is he doing? Where is his tech? Like, he should be trying to get tech lead. That is his best option. Like, he's just got to hope that I'm not paying attention and that he can get a tech lead. And I'm trying to send that hog to go scout for an expansion base. And so I see his tanks back at his base, so I'm just going to go check the expansion base next to him. And it's not cleared. I was just making sure he wasn't trying to clear it. I didn't think there was any indication that he was trying to clear it. Didn't see it. I had that hog out there in front as a scout, and I want to scout the top base, which to me would be a bit unusual, but it's not unheard of. So basically, if he were to try to take that top base, it would be late, it's going to slow him down, and I'm going to be able to push with stronger tech before he's going to get his base is going to pay for itself. So generally, if you fall behind a base and an Anders mirror, you are up with your back against the wall. And you have to get a tech lead if you're going to, and then try to push when your opponent tries to tech. That is the only thing you're going to be able to do. But you have to try to be able to do this without sacrificing units. So I'm just going to go Tech 3 before I go for Station. I generally like to go Tech 3 before I go Station. I'll even delete a supply pad to do it. Ooh, deleting a supply pad. No, I'll even delete a supply pad to do it and then upgrade to Station, like, essentially while I'm doing it, and then get another supply pad up afterwards, so it just counteracts that effect, or I'll upgrade another pad. Either way. I generally like to get my Tech 3 before I go Station, because I don't want my opponent to recognize that, oh, he's gunning Station, I should push now because he's probably trying to go for his Tech 3. I don't want to drop that much money all at once. So I see that his tanks are out of position up at his expansion base, and I'm just going to push in on his main. I'm getting Canister Shell, I'm getting Focusing Lens, and I will definitely be able to deny a pad, kill a pad before he's able to get down to me. And I see that all units stunned that Warthog accidentally, and I mean, I recognize an all unit stun when I see one. I'm gonna go push. I want to engage him when he has no stuns. But it looks like he's actually running away pretty far, so he'll have his stuns back by the time I get there. So I may as well just head back down and do more damage on his base. All the while, I'm getting closer and closer to my canister shell, and that is why you go reactor second in this game. Whenever you're playing Anders Mirrors, you put yourself at the best chance. It's the safest build. It sounds risky, but no, it's the safest build to go for reactor second. Make sure you buy the expo first, and generally it's safer just to go clear your own expo instead of trying to play offense on their expo. It's my canister shell to his non-canny, and I have focusing lens as well, so my gremlins actually do damage as opposed to his gremlins. Generally, you'll try to run a web. You generally want to stun and run with your gremlins, but when I have focusing lens, I generally get a little bit more reckless with them just because they are so strong. And he actually cryoed in this engagement, but I'm just gonna keep trying to run and then use my tanks and I'm stun. Use my tanks to box him off from getting there. Now I'm back to the choke point. And he recognizes that he's not going to be able to catch up to my tech, and I'm just slowly going to beat away at his army until he caves. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just comment, like, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time. And I'll give you the games versus Mighty Icy that time. See you guys.